There are three T's that are crucial in life. These T's could determine how far we'll go in life. The way these three T's are handled could shape the course of our lives. The first T is trauma. The second stands for triggers. And the last is triumph. We will all experience these three T's. In fact, it's safe to say that they accurately depict the seasons that we will go through in life. Everyone has a past. And if you have a past that you don't like to remember at all, then you might have experienced trauma. Trauma can mean two different things, but with the same impact. Let me explain what I mean. Trauma could be described as an injury to the body or terrible event that causes severe mental or emotional damage. Trauma could be physical or psychological, but the impact is the same. It's severe. People have traumatic experiences that leave them hurt, broken, or damaged for lives. Traumatic experiences are events that no one desires to have. Unfortunately, it does not seem like anyone can control it. Hardly does anyone ever see it coming. It's sudden, shocking, and devastating. The only thing that appears to be under control is our response to trauma, and even this bit is very tricky and requires a lot of effort and help. Trauma can cut short dreams, goals, ambitions, relationships, and ultimately our lives. So you see why this T is an important part of our lives. If you've gone through a traumatic event and to date you have not recovered, to date you still wake up from your sleep in tears, recovering from your nightmares, it's important to know that you are not alone. Trauma has the ability to isolate you. It makes you believe that no one will understand and no one can help. It feeds your mind with fear, guilt, and shame till you find that you are unable to find your voice. It tells you that you're beyond repair and that no one can want you or love you. Trauma will tell you that it's your fault and that there's something wrong with the way you were made. It'll tell you that there's just something about you that causes people to hurt you. It'll tell you that you don't deserve love. You're too damaged, too hurt, and no one wants that. What trauma doesn't tell you, though, is that a lot of us have gone through one traumatic event or the other. There may be different experiences, but they've left scars on all of us. Trauma won't tell you that there is someone out there who understands, because trauma, it's something that connects us all. Trauma won't tell you that there are people who will look beyond your past and even where you are currently to love you. Trauma won't tell you that you are not alone. You are not alone in your fears. You're not alone in your tears, and you're not alone in your pain. Most of all, trauma won't tell you that you can be free. Yes, you can. You can be free. Trauma doesn't have to hold your entire life back. You can be free. The first thing you must do is to first of all release yourself. Release yourself from whatever guilt you may possess. You don't deserve what has happened to you, and I don't care who you are or what you have done. We are all indeed victims of different circumstances, and many have done things that they aren't proud of because that is all they are or they were taught to do. So stop blaming yourself. Not only do you deserve this, but it's also not the end. You need to look out for hope. Hope is a powerful force that can see you through the darkest of days. It's the belief that you may not know how or when, but something about your circumstance will change. It's the belief that no matter how dark or gloomy today looks, light will shine again. So look out for hope. Refuse to believe that your situation is hopeless and helpless. I know you may have sought help and it doesn't work out. It's possible that all your hopes may have been dashed. But I ask that you believe again. Believe that your hope can attract the help you need. Believe that your hope can push you to the bold step you need to take for your freedom. Because there's always a step. Sometimes it's forgiveness. Sometimes it's letting go. Sometimes it's moving away. Sometimes it's finally seeking the help that you need. It could also be coming out boldly to say that you need people around you, because it's hard to survive trauma alone. It's easier to do it with the support and the love of people around you. It's easier to recover when someone somewhere is rooting for you. In overcoming trauma, find something to fight for. It could be your dreams. It could be the love you want to experience. Fight for the you that you want to see. Fight for a happier you, a brighter you, a fulfilled you. But remember to take it one day at a time. Process your feelings. Walk through your emotions. Heal slowly till you are whole again, and you will be whole again, because you are a fighter and your trauma will not defeat you. In overcoming trauma, you must also move to the next T, which is the trigger. Triggers are those events that tip you over. Triggers don't just make you remember the past events of your traumatic experience, they make you relive the experience. With triggers, for every one step you take, it's like you're taking 2 steps backwards. You have to watch out for triggers. Look out for the things that send you back to your past. It could be the things in your environment, people that remind you of where you are coming from, events that remind you of the trauma you left behind, the life you left behind. In overcoming your triggers, you must be determined to leave your past behind. Refuse to go back there. Sometimes you might need to take drastic steps, like leaving your immediate environment. You might need to leave certain relationships. You might need to cut off some friends who are bad influences completely. But the truth is, sometimes you cannot control the triggers around you. You cannot completely isolate yourself from everything that may serve as a trigger for you. But you can get help. You can ensure that you have a defense mechanism every time you identify a trigger, because a trigger could get you shot back into your traumatic past. A trigger could hold you back in the past and keep you from moving forward. A trigger would attempt to wipe out all the progress you've made in your healing. But don't get caught up in the guilt and shame that comes when you fall for a trigger. Don't stay down. Dust your hands and rise again. What is a trigger today doesn't have to be a trigger tomorrow. And that is a sign of your healing. Never give up. And every time you triumph, every time you win, when you could have easily lost, please celebrate yourself. I hate it when people say, celebrate small things. The word small and the word win don't go together. It's either a win or it's nothing. So celebrate your wins, celebrate your triumphs. Every time you make progress, every time you go further than you thought you would, every time you succeed at something you could have failed at, every time you come across a trigger that could have tipped you over but you didn't, and every time you rise from falling for a trigger, celebrate your wins, celebrate your triumph. You're alive, you lived, you survived. No matter how bad it looks right now, because you're alive, I know that things will get better. Because you're alive, I know that there's hope. So celebrate your triumph. Because if you cultivate a mindset of discarding triumphs because you think that they are little, you might never get to celebrate anything. You've come this far. People thought you could never rise above your trauma. You weren't even sure that you could ever find healing. But look at you, seeking help, healing, glowing and growing. You have triumphed. And even if your triumph doesn't look as grand as you may want it to look right now, celebrate regardless. You have triumphed. And this triumph is the first in a series of so much more to come. So there you have it. The 3 critical T's that we will all deal with at some point in our lives or throughout our lives. If you must remember something, remember this. You can heal from your trauma, overcome your triggers, and triumph over everything that has held you down.